What's going on, guys? My name's Grant. I'm on Alpha the Hermit duo, and today I'm going to bring you a video on the top 10 game protagonists in games. There are a few rules of this. Of course, the first one is it's only going to be characters from games that we've played on platforms that we've played. Now this includes the Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PS4. Includes the Game Boy Color, Advance, SP, Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS, XL, all that. Doesn't include any GameCube consoles or N64 because we weren't gaming back then. And of course it includes main characters as well as main characters that you play for at least an equal amount of time. For example, Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us. This unfortunately means that Ciri from The Witcher won't count, as you only play her for very short snippets of the game. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Number 10. Kratos from God of War. Kratos began his tale as a simple Spartan soldier and eventually turned out to be the subject of a prophecy that Olympus wouldn't actually fall at the hands of the Titans, which includes Gaia, Kronos and Atlas, but at the hands of that marked mortal. He is forced to wear the ashes of his family after being tricked into killing them by the God of War Ares. Kratos then began to kill his way up Mount Olympus on a warpath to kill all of the gods, deciding that his father, Zeus, was ultimately the cause of all of his woes. This makes him a very likeable character, if not a very sympathetic character, not one that you can immerse with, because he is pure rage incarnate. This leads to him being, while he is likeable and enjoyable to play as, he's not one that you can see yourself in, because he's just so out of reality. Number 9. Isaac Clarke from the Dead Space series. Isaac started as a very two-dimensional character in the first game and never did so much as speak or even lower his helmet. The second game seemed to have a very conscious attempt to give him a third dimension, and he was talking and lowering his helmet at an almost alarming rate. His severe mental health issues and extremely sad tale makes it very hard not to like and even sympathise with his character, which earns him a spot on this list. Altair Ibn Ahad. An assassin who is somewhat too rebellious for his master's liking, Altair presents a very likeable character because he fights against authority that tries to put him down, which is something almost everyone wishes they could do. Given more of a developed character in Assassin's Creed Revelations flashbacks, Altair becomes very likeable, as well as a very well-structured character who sticks ardently to his beliefs. Nathan Drake. Originally designed with all the stereotypes and tropes from characters in tongue-in-cheek action films like Indiana Jones, Drake could be said to be a poor man's Indy. Though whether it's due to the humour from Naughty Dog or the backstory and convoluted love stories, Drake is a very likeable character and he quickly becomes one you like and genuinely hope survives. And that's what ultimately earns him a place on this list, if it's not very high. Snake, aka Big Boss, from the Metal Gear Solid franchise. A complicated character with so much backstory that it rivals that of the planet itself, Snake is the ultimate agent of espionage. He was such an impressive agent after being injected with drugs which enhanced his capabilities, that the agency he worked for had 3 clones made of him with varying degrees of success, and which led to them having a half-life. These were Liquid Snake, Solidus Snake and Solid Snake. All of this makes him an amazingly well written character, even if a little complicated. Part of the reason that people loved him so much were the voice actors. Kiefer Sutherland has played him in the more recent game, The Phantom Pain, although his previous voice actor did get a very raw deal, where he was fired and replaced with Kiefer Sutherland without being given any notice by Kojima. This did lead to some controversy, but ultimately people still loved the character and still came back for more. Whether there will be another game in this franchise, his future is up in the air, as Hideo Kojima, the one who originally made the game, was actually fired from Konami. Dante from Devil May Cry and DMC. A Nephilim, which is a hybrid of demon and human, Dante makes his living as a demon hunter and mercenary for hire. He has a startling array of weapons, ranging from his twin pistols, ebony and ivory, all the way to a miniature Death Star decked out with enough weapons to fill an army general's wet dreams. Couple this with his wisecracking nature, talent with swords and very wide background, and you can see why Dante managed to cut his way onto this list. Number 4. Gordon Freeman from the Half-Life franchise. The face of the massively famed Half-Life series, Freeman is very much the everyman. A scientist who did not want or need any part of what befell him and his colleagues, he makes a character that pretty much anyone can see something of themselves in and therefore sympathise with his plight. This makes him a very enjoyable character to play as, and not only explains why he's on this list, but why everyone cries out for another part in the game series.
I've left you confirmed.
Number 3, Joel Miller from The Last of Us. Though it's a tough decision between Joel and Ellie for this slot on the list, since you play as both characters for roughly half of the game's runtime, Joel wins out due to the simple fact that he has a more developed backstory and shows more of a dramatic transformation throughout the game's events. Ellie's backstory was developed upon further in the Left Behind DLC, but as that wasn't really part of the main game, we think Joel manages to squeeze into this place. Number 2, Commander, insert name here, Shepard. The main protagonist from the Mass Effect trilogy of games that have been released so far, Shepard was whatever you wanted him/her to be. Incredibly nice and friendly, a total dick to anything or anyone, whether they be Krogan, Solarian or human, or a blend of the two, making decisions as the choices arise. You can choose. Add to this the well-crafted background and universe made for both the games and character, and this makes Shepard very much noteworthy. And now, I feel like we should give a few honourable mentions. Cirilla from The Witcher. While she wasn't given as much game time as Geralt himself, given that she was such an integral part of the game franchise, I would have liked to put her on this list, although due to obviously her not being given much time, I'm unfortunately unable to. Ellie from The Last of Us. While I did touch on this on the Joel point, Ellie was a very likeable character because she was nothing like a girl her age should have been, and that was due to the fact that she lived in a post-apocalyptic world. Whether it be to the fact that she can't whistle, or the fact that she walks around the streets with Joels telling him terrible jokes, she is just a very enjoyable character that you love to play and play with as Joel. Later on, she does go through a lot of traumatic events which lead to her being a lot more shy, nervous, introverted, but even then you can still see elements of her likeable character, like when she runs to see the giraffes. Master Chief. Now, this might have been a very obvious character to be on this list because so many people like him, but we feel that he was a very two-dimensional character because he was never really given a background. You were just told that he was a soldier in a suit that made him really strong, and it went from there. Now, as we never enjoyed the Halo franchise, we never delved into his past at all, whether it's there or not, but knowing Bungie, it probably is, since there always seems to be a lot of background that you can find online rather than in the game itself. This happened with Destiny as well, although we did enjoy Destiny much more than Halo for some reason. And now, without further ado, we're going to get into our number 1 spot. Number 1, Geralt of Rivia, the Witcher franchise. The White Wolf, the Grey One, the Butcher of Blaviken. Call him what you will, but Geralt has always made a very intimidating and generally badass character. With his twin sword on his back, Geralt is a hunter of monsters, be they the more horrific variety such as a fiend or maybe a Zoogle, or even the much more mundane human variety. With the array of books written by Andrzej Sapkowski behind him, there was no way CD Projekt Red could have messed up his character background. This led to them being able to focus much more on the story of the games as well as his general character design, which let the games be much better for it. Being the titular Witcher, Geralt embarks on a story of heartbreak, violence and eventually triumph, bringing the audience along with him all the way, thus earning him this place at the top of the list. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Please let me know down in the comments below. Please smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. We reply to all comments, so don't be afraid to give us a shout even if it's nothing to do with the video, and we'll see you next episode.